Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ashton and today is an exciting video. We are doing a techo kaigi, or a mid-year meeting up of the planners and journals I've been using. So I'll share with you what I've been doing and what my plans are going forward. This might be a little bit of a long video, so if you want to grab a snack or beverage, go ahead. I have my coffee here. I'm actually using my new coffee mug. I'll put a picture on the screen. I don't want to tilt it because I don't want to spill my coffee. But I designed these mugs, and so they are actually up in my online shop now. I'm really proud and excited about them. I've never created a coffee mug or a product like this before, so I'll have them linked below. But I'm going to take a sip of my coffee and we'll get started. So you see quite a few planners here. I'm going to just kind of take you through chronologically as far as 2023 goes and share what my process has been. So if you watched my initial setup video at the beginning of the year, you would have seen that I plan on using both a Hobonichi cousin, a Hobonichi weeks, and I also shared the setup of my work planner in that video. My work planner is just a disc-bound happy planner, and it's still kind of in use here and there. It's on my shelf. I don't really have any updates as far as that goes to share, but I will show you what I've been doing with these guys. So the Hobonichi cousin has been my main planner, and I was primarily in this until like I think April-ish. I'll have the exact, yeah, maybe it was like the beginning of May, just judging based on this index. Let's see. Yeah, I think I made it through May, actually, like keeping up with it, and then after that, I guess it was June that I moved into my personal ring planner. So prior to June, this was like my all-in-one. Monthlies were pretty functional, and my weekly sections are pretty functional as well. Really just a process of seeing how I can use these inserts and what works best for me. So I kind of just was experimenting and using different layouts and trying different things. I like to decorate in the weekly pages, but also keep it really functional, and there's kind of a balance between both of those for me, but they're both important. I really like to have a little decoration because it just keeps me motivated. Like, the creative part of planning is what keeps me coming back to it. And then in my daily pages, I kind of just do whatever I feel like doing. So, and this is where I think my itch to switch kind of started, because while I love the cousin, I love the fact that you do have monthly, weekly, daily pages. At times it can feel like a bit much, and I've noticed that when I do use the cousin, over the course of summers, usually I feel like I just want my planning to be a little more light and a little less effort, and I don't spend as much time in my planner. So during those times, the daily page becomes a lot, and I don't mind skipping them and having empty pages. It doesn't bother me, but I do feel like if I'm carrying around this whole book and I'm not making the most of it, that maybe I want to switch into something a little that's going to be a little bit easier to use, a little less effort. So like I said, I was in here until June, and I think that's when I put this piece of sticker paper in, just to kind of like divide the pages so I would sort of remember where I was. And so that's what's happening with the cousin. I wouldn't be surprised if I do go back into this at some point in the year, but as of right now, I'm still out of it. And then as far as the weeks, I originally planned to keep up with this as a health planner, but sadly I did not make it very far. So I kind of was just like doing a little planning in my monthlies. And then I had ambitious plans for how I was going to use my weeklies, and I think I only made it like a few weeks. Yeah, I didn't even make it out of December, so sadly, my plans for this one just didn't work out, but that's okay. I just kind of quickly realized that like keeping up with this and the cousin was going to be too much, so I just didn't make it very far. I didn't make it into the spring with this, but I love this actual like cover and planner so much, so I'm going to keep this guy around. So then I moved into personal rings, and I do have some setup videos showing that on my channel. You wouldn't see this binder, but you would see my personal size Filofax binder. And so I did end up actually buying this, but I realized like moving from the cousin to personal rings was still too much effort and work on my part, at least just for the season that I'm in. But I don't regret purchasing this planner by any means, and I feel like I'm going to keep this guy around. This is a Giulio Campagna in the black croco exterior, and then it has the cloud color interior. And this is like, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful planners that you can buy. Like, I got the black rings, I got the black pen. I love this color. I love the combination. It's very me. And so I see myself like keeping this around for a while. Whether or not I'm in personal rings, I just feel like this is a beautiful piece to have. So as I said, there are personal ring setups on my channel if you want to see how I actually organized this guy. But personal rings is very functional for me, but I feel like the one thing that it leaves out is any sort of journaling, or not journaling, because I can journal in here and I do, but really having an archive. Like, I miss having a bound book that I can flip back through in chronological order and just kind of see like how the year went for me. So that's the thing that kind of I miss when I have personal rings. And also just, it's a lot of different inserts to keep up with and update. So I do think it has its strengths, and I find like whenever I have a lot going on and a lot of different areas that I want to keep track of, a ring bound system is great, but it's just not the season that I'm in right now. So in that effort of trying to kind of lighten the load, I recently set up a bullet journal, and I feel like this is just as light as my planning can possibly be, and I really like that aspect about bullet journaling. I really feel like there's no obligation with bullet journaling. Like, I feel like I can just use it as needed, which is awesome. And I can really customize it to be whatever I need, which just works so well. So I've been using this for a few weeks, but as much as I love it and I'm going to keep this journal around, I think it's just the fact that like 2024 planners are coming out, you know, now, some of them, and some of them are coming soon. Hobonichi release for 2024 is one that's really important to me, that I'm keeping my eye on, and I plan on buying something from Hobonichi. I'm just not sure what my plan is yet, but all of that like has me sort of in planner chaos. And watching other videos and things from other planner people, I don't think I'm alone in this. So you can see this is one of the pages that I've used to sort of brainstorm my planner system in and of itself and figure out like what works, what doesn't. And this was really helpful. Like, I think it's a good idea to write down what are your needs with planning and what planners could maybe meet those needs and which ones don't. And that kind of helped me get my mind around where I'm at with my planning and what might work for the rest of the year or next year. So I love being able to do things like this in my bullet journal. It's great. But I think the main problem I'm having with this bullet journal right now is the fact that it isn't dated. Like, it's a blessing and a curse, because I love the fact that I can use any amount of pages that I need for a week, a day. But then again, like, I do miss having that archive planner that's already dated that I can quickly like flip through to see what happened when. Not that you can't do that in a bullet journal, but sometimes, especially when life is busy, it could feel like a lot to need to date the pages and draw things out. So, you know, it's a pro and a con depending on how I'm feeling, but right now I'm kind of looking for something different. So with my bullet journals, what I've done in the past is if it's not working, I will just stop where I'm at. And then when I'm ready to journal again, like I'll just come in, whatever blank page I left off, and I'll just start over. And that's another pro of the bullet journal. It's like you can just keep going whenever you would like. So we've kind of talked about where I've been with my planning this year, and so let's talk about where I'm at now and where I'm going. So part of my process in brainstorming planners has been to create these little sticky note tabs where on each little sticky note, I just started to write different things, different needs that I have in my planning. So for example, some of them are I need a monthly log and I need a place for monthly habits, and I need a future log for future dates and planning. I need some sort of goal planning dashboard page. I need a place that I could track medical bills, and so on. So what I did was I started to think, can I use a weeks again? So prior to 2023, I did purchase 2 weeks. So I like to have 2 weeks on hand because I know myself, and I know that at some point in the middle of the year, I'm tempted to jump into a Hobonichi weeks for whatever reason. And sometimes having more than one can really help me out so that I don't feel like I have to keep planning in the same notebook, and I can have a fresh start if that's what I feel like I need. So I'm glad I did have the second one on hand. So this beautiful planner is the Monuncle Weeks. I really love the design of this one. It's just gorgeous. I love everything about it, and I'm excited to use it. So I started to take all of my sticky notes and just place them throughout this planner and try to figure out how could I make this work. Like, is there a place in this planner that I can stick every single one of my planner needs, And so that's where I'm at right now. It's just the brainstorming process of what am I going to put where and what's going to work. So earlier in the year, I had briefly come into this planner just to try to use it as a journal, and that was pretty short-lived. So now I'm back and trying to see how I can use it. And so, for example, on this page, I love this overview that's unique to the Hobonichi Weeks, and it's such a functional page for me. In the past, you can see I used it as a cycle tracker. That's very functional. But right now, I think that I want to use the top section of the page as a bills log, just because it seems to have a perfect layout for that. For each month you have several lines, so there's a place that I can put a check mark or even write the amount of the bill as it's paid. And so I might just have to come up with something creative to cover up this writing that I've already put down so that I can backfill in those bills. But either way, the second and a half of the year is blank, so I think that's going to work out. And then for the monthly, I think, this is a great layout for what my needs are. I want to have a monthly inbox list of to-dos. So I think I'll put that on the left column, have a tracker across the bottom. And then I had a couple of pages that I thought I could use the November and December of 2022 pages for, because I don't plan on filling those in for the previous year. So right now I think I'm just going to use one of them for a future log, one of them for my goals page, one of them for my medical bills tracker, and then I have a couple more in case I need another notes page. So moving on to what is now the current week, I've started to brainstorm how I can use this as a weekly. And I'm kind of thinking putting my daily tasks on one half of this page, then leaving a space for memories, or maybe putting memories in this little column here. And then this side of the page, I'm thinking maybe a space for journaling and then a space for a to-do list. Going back to the notes section of the book, I want to print out a vision board and put that here. And then I had some pages I had started to use before. I'm thinking I might just cover this little section up and then use this as my health log. I like to do a running list where I can just date, put the date, write down like my weight or various symptoms, so I could just see those all at a glance. And then I had some other ideas for note pages, but for the majority of them, I think I probably will just use this as like extra space as needed. Like, I don't know if it's going to be a to-do list space or just whatever I kind of think of in the moment. I will say that if I continue this system for 2024, I'm thinking that I would probably try to purchase a mega Hobonichi weeks for more notes pages, just because it's August now, so I think this will be enough. But if I was moving in January, I think I would want more notes pages available. In this favorites page, I use this in my cousin for the books that I read, and I plan to do the same thing here. So that's all the sticky notes that I had stuck down in here. I have my little bookmark from Hobonichi. This came out in the spring release, and this is the only thing I purchased, but I just had to get this dashboard. I really like that design. And then I had a little list back here of just some things that I might want to track, somewhere in my weeks, and I like to just have this little list of things I could do. If I have extra space in my weeklies, these might be things to write down. One thing I like about the weeks system is that you can purchase these little thin notebooks that are just like extra grid pages. You can see I've used mine quite a bit. I tend to use these for things that are temporary. So like, for example, I always will write down what I plan to purchase for Christmas gifts in this notebook, just because I don't need that in my planner. I don't necessarily need to keep the list or want to keep the list, but it's nice to just have a place that is with my planner that I can write that down. So I'm also thinking about using these for more long form journaling, because that's the only kind of space that I'm missing. But in kind of assessing my planner needs, I realized that when I do long form journaling, usually I don't actually want to keep the writing. Like in the past, when I filled journals with just writing, I don't tend to keep them, or I don't tend to want to refer back to them. Like, it's more just a space to get my thoughts out and maybe brainstorm in the moment, but then it's not something that I need to look back on. So I think that might be a good activity for these little books, and I have a few of these on hand. So I'm going to try that out. And so that would be like my whole system in one. With the help of these little books, I think I can make it work. And I do have my beloved Hobonichi cover. This guy, I will say, even if I'm not using weeks, I plan on keeping this cover forever. It's just like my favorite. I love the color scheme, and I think it looks so nice with this cover with the gold accents on both. I just really like it. So over this weekend, I'm going to kind of finish like moving into this guy and setting it up. So that is kind of where I've been and where I'm at with my planning. As far as thoughts go for 2024, at this point my plan is just to experiment with this Hobonichi weeks for the rest of the year, and possibly go back into my cousin at some point. So I'm kind of between the cousin and the weeks for the remainder of the year. At least that's what I think I'm going to be doing, in hopes that that will help me figure out what I want to do for 2024, because as you can see, I've tried just about everything for 2023, and that's fine. I'm just kind of embracing that this year has been a real experiment in terms of planning, and I think that that's totally fine, especially if your life is changing or you're just in different seasons, different challenges. I think that your planners have to change to accommodate your planning needs. And I think that's what's happening and what has been happening. I have had fun with it, so I hope you enjoyed this planner update, and I would love to hear in the comments how it's going for you. Are you also struggling with planner hopping and planner indecision, or have you been solid in the same planner since the beginning of the year? I'd love to know how it's going for you. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you again in the next one.